It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news in the NFL. New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton is stepping down after 15 seasons at the helm in Louisiana. Also around the league, the Bears finalizing a deal to hire Chiefs Assistant Director of Player Personnel Ryan Poles as their next general manager, according to Adam Schefter. A lot of changes happening around the NFL and a few here in Nashville as well. 3HL's Brent Doherty reported earlier this morning that Titans inside linebackers coach Jim Haslett is out, as well as assistant defensive line coach Kenichi Udeze. Buck Rising later reported assistant special teams coach Matt Edwards is out, and then John Glennon added assistant strength and conditioning coach Mondre Gee, also out of the Titans organization. College hoops, Belmont defeated Eastern Illinois 90-56 on Monday. 5 different Bruins scored in double figures. Belmont improves to 15-5. Tennessee State was in action as well. They fell to 8-12 with the 67-54 loss to Morehead State. Preds are back at it tonight on the West Coast at the Seattle Kraken. Seattle defeated Nashville in Bridgestone Arena on opening night this year. That was their first ever game as a franchise. They now sit in last in the Pacific. Preds third in the Central, coming off back-to-back wins. Puck drop tonight is at 9 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. If you just heard Lucas Panzica's update, Sean Payton out in New Orleans, to which Blaine immediately said, yeah, man, that's been the rumor. I'm not surprised by that at all.
Yeah, well, they said he was going to TV. They needed a break. I think he needed a break because he couldn't figure out he couldn't get a quarterback. So he just said, I need to take a break to kind of clear my mind a little bit. I don't know if he's going to do TV or not, but that's what a lot of conversations was, kind of comparing it to Tony Romo, Drew Brees, about, hey, you can still make a lot of money when you're done, or if you need to take a break and still be involved and keep your name out there. Sounds something, like that he would do, because he's still fairly young. Like, how old is he? He's not even...
He's 58.
Yeah, he's not 60 yet. So.
He's got to be the coach of the Cowboys after he sits out a year, right?
Yeah, just playing the waiting game.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, he's got to.
Hey, who does Sean Payton replace in New Orleans?
It wasn't Jim Haslett.
It was Jim Haslett.
Okay.
Who is out today as Titans inside linebackers coach.
Happy Jim Haslett Day to everybody. Yeah, the Titans were so mad about how bad the offense performed that they fired a bunch of dudes that don't coach the offense. Hey, man. That's all I kept thinking. This is just like the NCAA basketball. It's like, we're so mad at Will Wade and Jim Boeheim that we gave Donnie Tyndall a 10-year show cause. So this is what our guy Brent Doherty just woke up this morning and just started tweeting news. Jim Haslett is out. He's the inside linebackers coach. He was hired February of 2020. He also said that they were going to fire assistant defensive line coach Kenichi Udeze. I think the defensive lineman played okay this year. I mean, Big Jeff, Danico Autry.
Assistant, right?
Assistant defensive line coach.
So we're firing actually people who really had no cloud and influence very much at all on anything. Game planning, even teaching them what to do to a certain extent. They only have, a limited amount of time, and I mean, actually, the position coach is the guy that has all the clout. So, they fired some guys. Those guys were going to be fired then before whenever the season was up. That's how I look at it. These influential. I mean, then Hazard's the only one, and he's an older gentleman, and they might have done him a favor. I mean, oh yeah, I got one more year on my deal. Oh, good, I'll be out in Florida somewhere, in Destin on my beach house or something. 66. So he's been coaching for a long time.
What about assistant special teams coach Matt Edwards? They fired that guy. They fired assistant.
Yeah, and then assistant strength coach.
Strength and conditioning coach Mondre Gee. I looked, and his pronunciation is like the letter G. It said, yeah. But Glennon had that. Buck had the assistant special teams coach.
Yeah, well, I mean, great job by those guys. I'm not in the business of breaking any news, but that had nothing to do with nothing in my mind. As far as what happened in this game, it's always the position coach, coordinators, and head coach, along with the GM. So Yeah, that's that's hilarious to me. I mean, because some people are going to buy in. Oh, they fired some coach. Well, they didn't fire anybody that really had the clout. Oh, by the way, Hazlitt, he may have told him, "Hey, man, shake deal, man. I'm tired. Hey, man, it's
Right.
time for me to go." Oh, okay, we'll let you go. We got a guy named Jim Schwartz on the staff too, who didn't have a formal title. Oh, he could just be a linebacker coach.
Seems
Yeah.
like, as you
Seems
told
like a
me,
great fit.
it seems like before the show you may have mentioned that's what Schwartz once did in the same building.
Yeah, he did. He
Coach
was
of linebackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's where he kind of started his roots and everything else. Really sharp guy, very intelligent, great football acumen, as we've seen throughout his career as a DC and as a head coach. So, not sure that's the direction to go. I have no insight, as I told you, or inside information from anybody. That's just kind of seems like logical, but it could not be at all. I mean, who knows? He may be interviewing for head coach jobs. I have no idea.
So that's the entirety of it. If you wondered, Mike Vrabel had spoken, and he got asked about making changes, and a bunch of different guys. None of these names came up, but anyway, Brent Doherty reports Jim Haslett is out. He's the inside linebackers coach. Also reports assistant defensive line coach Kenichi Udeze. Haslett was here 2 years. Udeze was here 1 year. Assistant special teams coach Matt Edwards is gone. He was in his 4th year with the Titans, his 3rd as assistant special teams coach. And then Andre G reported out by Glenn, and I think this was actually his 1st year on the staff. So as of now, no other announcements about staff changes that we have seen. I know there's been a lot of people calling in today, and here's the thing. We've got basically we're going to do our Ding Dong of the Week segments we normally do on Monday. We'll do Ding Dong of the Week coming up at 1:20. So if you want to add any of this ding dongery, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you guys this. I have a 10-part ding dong this week.
Now, that is funny. You got that many ding dongs?
It's just one. It's just really long. It has 10 parts. This ding dong of mine. I have a 10-part ding dong this week. So if you got a ding dong, you can hit us in the next segment or anything you want to talk about, because the Titans did make staff changes. Maybe that is something you want to include in your ding dongery this week, courtesy of Mark Spain Real Estate, markspain.com. That would they make that possible every week. So we'll do ding dongs. We'll do Coach Mack at 2:20. Other than that, again today, we will have plenty of time for you to call in. So you got something you want to weigh in on, something you want to talk about. Heck, if you're still mad, which it seems like a lot of you are. 615-737-1045. We are giving you a forum, and we were talking about this downstairs earlier. If this has to go on all week, that you need to talk yourself through this, call in. Because anytime we're not talking, we will take your phone calls, again, on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Heck, let's just start here, Blaine. Dr. C, not Dr. J, but earlier in the alphabet, Dr. C is on the line and wants to talk about these staff changes. What's up, Doc?
Who that?
Hey. First of all, I was trying to get in with Bud, and I wanted to say, Bud, have a little bit of confidence. If I was at the stadium, I'd want to take a picture with you, too. You are a celebrity, and you're the man, Bud. Now, about Spain talking this stuff with Jeffrey Simpson, we need to send Spain for a psychological evaluation. If they can't fix him, then he needs to go to a psychiatrist and get some medication.
Yeah, what did he
Taylor
do we know what he said, though? Or
I think a bunch of curse words.
curse words that we can't say?
He's my ding dong of the week. So
That is mine. Oh, man.
we doubles down.
All right, sorry about that.
Okay,
What's your other one?
he needs to get some help. Taylor Lewan, Taylor's good. Taylor can't stay on the field enough for $12 million for me. Too many games he turns an ankle or something in non-contact pregame warm-up. He's getting killed by somebody. He manages to tweak or something, and he got to come out and set out 2 or 3 quarters. Taylor's made his millions, and I figure he's decided he's not going out with CTE when he finishes playing. He's going to live a life, family, enjoy some of those millions. And he's good when he's on the field, but you can't be worth $12 million for me when you're not paying enough.
Gotcha, Dr. C. Thank you. I'm sure Buck appreciated all of your praises that you threw his way.
Yeah.
I bet he's
I guess
listening.
they were
He's
having
very
those
excited.
conversations. I guess we don't want to make the assumption that everybody's going to have CTE that plays football.
Yeah,
so
come on, man.
I'm not gonna say that, but it will be up to debate if Lewan is on the roster at that rate. It's kind of interesting. You look at his numbers. I think you have his numbers or everybody's numbers, and that is I would love to know what is he $14 million on the cap, but his salary, but he's only like $3 million on the cap. So
Oh, no, I got that
It
rascal
seems
right here. I'll tell
like
you.
it's doable, but he also came off of an ACL surgery and he fought through that. And you know what? I'm a little bit with the caller in that I need him to stay healthier. These last, let's say, 3 years of not actually, he's missing games. 3 years ago he missed 4 games for PEDs. Last year he only played like 6 games with the ACL, and then this year he probably missed about 4 games, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing off the top of my head. So I like to have a little more consistency. So I would love to have him back, maybe at a reduced salary. I don't even know if that's feasible. I don't even know what he's making, Mickey. You kind of take me down that road.
His Taylor Lewan's cap hit this year would be 4.69.
Oh, 4 point. Okay.
If you cut him, his dead cap would only be 1.7.
Yeah, that that's eye popping. So that can happen. And they, but now as everyone's talking about this, you also, as an organization, you have to have your plan for your blindside tackle.
Sure.
You think, okay, we're going to bring him back for less. Well, guess what? What if he's not available and someone else, that's what the agents get paid for.
Yep.
And so you now have to have someone else on your radar for about the money and salary you're talking about spending. Maybe it's $7 million, half of that or whatever, maybe $10 million. So you go out and get a guy who you think is durable and won't miss as many games as he's missed. I don't know if that's what they're thinking because there's risk reward with everything, as everybody's talking about Tannehill. But at the same time, can you get somebody better? And then with his cap hit, it's almost impossible that you're going to, have a different quarterback here at least for one more year. So those are all the things that the organization, the coaching staff, GM, everybody's sitting down, the position coaches, kind of tell you where he was at. And, eventually he started playing better and being more consistent. I just don't know if it was enough for that salary to me. And if you have an out and your cap hit is not very high, this may be the time to do it. I'm not sure because you may be going a different direction. Maybe Ben Jones is a free agent, I think, right?
He is.
Saffold has a big number, right? As far as so you don't want to kind of
Saffold's is 12.875 to keep him and 2.375 to cut him. So his is about 10 million and Lewan's is almost 13. That's what I was seeing yesterday. If you just said we've got to have money and you let Lewan, Saffold, and Jackrabbit walk, that's 30.4 million in cap savings. Just for those 3 guys.
Not to say that you can't re-sign those guys, right?
Not to say you couldn't rework something or push money down the road or whatever, because you could do that. But if they just woke up tomorrow, I almost said Vin Diesel, but Vin Marino, who's the capologist guy down there, not Vin Diesel. But if Vin Marino just woke up tomorrow and walked down the hall and told J-Rob, I need $30 million, and that's how you could get $30 million in like the blink of an eye.
Well, you also can extend other players' contracts too.
Yep.
There's always a couple ways to skin a cat.
Which is how we got to where we are with Tannehill, with him having a $57 million cap hit, dead cap hit this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's always tough to find tackles, good ones, and I would definitely say Taylor Lewan is a good one. I just don't like his durability here these last 3 years on missing games. So that would be in the question. Most of the time, those guys really, if ever, miss any games. Maybe one here or there. So if they felt like he's got over the hump and the snide and he'll be better next year because he'll be able to basically rehab his whole body and get stronger all over the place instead of just focusing on, which I heard is in the interview, just his knee and trying to get back right. At the same time, when he was trying to get his knee right, you also have to work on all the other body parts as well. So you just got to make sure you be cautious of that. I think Dyson kind of went over that. I've never had a severe injury like that, so I can't even say. But I've watched guys go through that injury, and they tear the ACL the next year, they tear the patella tendon.
And Lewan talked about that, about trying to come back from one thing and it leading to messing up other stuff.
That's what he said. He had back issues. So,
Yep.
my partner in crime, Mark Robb, he tore his ACL, then the next year tore his patella tendon. This guy was all pro, all everything when I was a rookie. And then, he never got to that level ever again. He was a great player, but he was going down, a Bayard road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was getting picks every day. And that just didn't happen after having 2, basically reconstructed knees. Mm-hmm. So that's what can happen. And you start saying, okay, where do we go from here? Still a really good player, but can Lawan in the trenches in this style of offense, is he going to be there game in and game out?
Lucas says we got to go. He played 15 games in 2018. He played 12 in 2019. The PED suspension. He played 5 in 2020. He played 13 games this year. 13 out of
so I was
17. You literally almost got every one of them. Yeah,
Right.
that was pretty darn good. All right, when we come back, we got a couple of phone lines open, 615-737-1045. It'll be time for Ding Dong of the Week. You want to react to the Titan staff changes. Heck, maybe you're just still mad from Saturday. We're here for you, Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey. Normally, we keep their heads ringing and do the ding-dong of the week on Monday, but we knew you guys Blaine made the call, our director of content. He said people just seem too mad to talk about ding-dongs today, so we figured we would just move our ding-dongs to Tuesday, so we did that.
That's what Lucas told us.
Go to markspain.com, get a guaranteed offer on your home today, and start packing, or as we like to say, don't be a ding-dong. Use Mark Spain. It is that time. We will get to our ding-dongs. As I said, I actually have a 10-part ding-dong this week as a ding-dong of the week award. And I just kept finding more and more numbers that worked. I got all the way out to 10. So I'll share that in just a minute. But as he customarily is, our buddy Eric from Nashville will lead us off in this ding-dong segment. Eric, share a ding-dong with us, my friend.
Hey, guys, first of all, I just want to say I'm glad you moved it today because I'm definitely a lot better moved today considering what happened yesterday. Actually, guys, I have 2 ding-dongs, and I think you'll like both of them. Guys, hey, guys, my first one has to go to Antonio Brown. I guess you heard about what happened yesterday. I mean, I saw the news yesterday where apparently before the Los Angeles Rams Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, he posted an Instagram post wishing Tom Brady luck, all the luck in the world in the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then, allegedly, after the game, after the Tampa Bay lost, he posted another Instagram post. It was a snapshot of him where he was running off the field, where he was frozen. He's got his shirt off, throwing up his hands, but where he's holding a sign where he posted, where it says "Bucks eliminated." Above that, it's a crying meme, and above that, I think it either says "can't" or "I can't." I mean, this guy is just a piece of work, guys. I'm telling you, It's. You're hearing reports now that he's getting called from a couple of teams. It's like, well, I thought you needed ankle surgery because you had issue with ankle. And then now there's a report that he's interested in playing with Lamar Jackson. If I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I have nothing to do with this guy. You can't trust him. And the thing is also, you look at all the head coaches' organizations he's burned, some of the top organizations, and he won the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Why in the world would anybody take a chance on him? You hear everybody says, well, it's that thing. He could suffer maybe mental illness with a concussion about Vontaze Burfict. But there are reports now that that happened earlier, that he did this even before that. So I don't know if I buy this. This guy is just not worth it. And my second ding-dong, guys, has to go to Aaron Rodgers. And here's why. This is the guy, remember a while back when he was doing the championship prance at Soldier Field saying, I own you, I own you, I own you, guys. Well, that's all good. And certainly he owns the Chicago Bears. But guess what, Aaron? The San Francisco 49ers own you. You own 4 against them in the playoffs. And before you start going around bragging you own somebody, you better be careful when you do that because what goes around comes around. So, Aaron Rodgers, you get my other ding-dong because you cannot beat the 49ers when it comes to the playoffs. Y'all take care of it.
Eric dropping his ding-dongs. The ding-dong that goes around comes around.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, that was a great one.
0-4 against the Niners.
Yeah, even on the AB. AB was like, yeah, missed me. That's what he's saying. No, you messed that up, bro. Yeah, I would be moving forward. Maybe if you was on the field. And guess what? Here's how the organizations look at AB because he can still play. You now can get him for cheap labor and still get an excellent player. And you ask your coach, say, can you just deal with him for a certain amount of time until he explodes? And by the way, as I said before, Ryan Clark said this guy was like this when he was in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then when he got his money, it got even worse. And he said Tomlin just dealt with it. So I don't, a lot of people want to make excuses. None of us are behind the scenes and know anything about him personally. But when someone says that was his teammate and says that's just who he is, and it's kind of like an uncontrolled, competitive natured deal where it all starts and then it turns into something else, I probably would believe that who saw him every day at practice.
We have multiple ding-dongs in the Zone TV chat here. Man, it's moving fast here. Let me see. Ding-dong of the week is people calling in saying, let's go get Russell Wilson. Don't think about any of the financial problems that would happen with cutting 10 wheels loose. Yeah, it's not fantasy football, guys. You can't just say, trade this guy. It doesn't work that way. There's too much math involved. Adam says.
Yeah, well, and to add to that, though, you know what spoiled and changed everything? Stafford in golf.
Well, sure.
Say everybody, oh, no, you can
Just do that.
Yeah, it's easy. Well, you got to find a partner. You got to figure out how your salary cap situation is going to work out with that. And you have to have capital to actually trade for them, whether it's players or draft picks. And people want the now. And I get it. The fans want the now. But also, if you want to go down that road, which I don't think they can do, it'll be kind of interesting to see if they even dabble in that, and we'll never know. But I just, you can say Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, are they still great? Because they're sitting at home right now, too. I mean, as much as I know they're better players, they're in different schemes and systems to a certain extent where they have a lot more freedom to throw the ball. And I just don't know if that's going to work here. I wish it would, and I wish it could happen. Being frustrated at the same time, I just don't think anything like that is going to happen at this point. Everything settles down. They're going to kind of go back and look at Tannehill over his 3 years and say, this is who he is and this is how we manage through it. If not, man, to me, they should just go ahead and we're going to tweak our offense just a tad. We're going to see if he can be the guy. I'm serious now, because if not, he's just going to keep getting us to this spot and then we're going to get eliminated.
Right.
And you only have such a window. I mean, it's so long in the window. And to me, next year is getting close to the end of the window. Yeah, I think you got to ride it out.
Adam says in the Zone TV chat, the ding dong is the guy that got squared up by Diggs. If you didn't see it, a fan man on the field and just, I know you saw it, and got blasted by Diggs of Buffalo. Tomahawk.
Did you see that? Hold on before you go to. Did you see that, Lucas? When Diggs tackled that fan?
He leveled him.
Right. You saw it on Twitter then, right?
Yeah, I didn't see it in the game during the broadcast. No.
I mean, a lot of players. The reason why I'm asking you and you guys is, I would be scared to hit a fan because what if I hit him and then I hurt him?
Yeah.
By accident. Am I now asking for a lawsuit even though he was on the field of play?
I wouldn't take a chance.
And he was standing there.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a play was going on and you were getting him out. Everything was stopped. And he went out of his way almost like, would he have done that to a Buffalo Bill fans? Is why I bring this up. Because you're in Kansas City and you know it's probably a Kansas City fan. Kansas City's Chief fan. So he went and leveled the guy.
He did.
I don't anytime somebody I'm not running into them. I'm not tackling them. I'm stopping and just letting it all play itself out. If they come over and do something to me, now that's a different story.
But to go seek them out and seek out the contact, they could have anything on them or with them or any kind of craziness. I mean, I would have been
more scared than I don't know what's going on here.
I would just ease right on.
He ran out of his way and hit him.
Blasted the guy. Yeah.
So, and he ran out of his way. I mean, he ran a good 10 yards to hit him.
He did.
He got to run and start. It was like he was a defensive player. He's like he was safety. Yeah. I don't know about that one, man. I'm like, nah, I'm going to leave that guy alone. I'll let the police handle that.
We got multiple ding-dong downings in the chat. Mary Dawn Randall says, ding-dong downing, no question about it. Nephew, Selly, says, ding-dong is the New Orleans Saints. They're in salary cap hell, and now Peyton is leaving them. By the way, for just joining us, Sean Payton, stepping away from the Saints at 50 years old so he can be on TV for a year and then join the Dallas Cowboys.
That's it. Blaine is using his head.
Yeah, don't go tackle the crazy person on the field. Prometheus MT.
Okay. Hey,
weighing in on that.
Who's that? It's Collins one. What's that say? Thank you, Blaine, for taking a photo. I like sitting in the seat next to Mickey.
Now you can read everything.
I can see everything because I have no computer screen over there.
You gave your son a cupcake. Easily, she says, thank you, Blaine.
For his birthday.
It's Collins. Thank you, Blaine, for taking a photo with me and my son at the game and even giving him a cupcake for his birthday.
Yeah.
Easily his best memory from the game.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I don't know how old he was, but he wasn't a happy camper, so I was trying to cheer up his day.
Ding dong of the week. So you guys have kind of hinted at your ding dongs. Blaine and Lucas are sharing one this week.
No, Blaine can have Quentin Spain. I forgot I actually had another ding dong.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
Big Spain.
Go ahead, Blaine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Quentin Spain is, he Instagram or tweets out or something on somebody else's, maybe even on his Instagram or someone else's Instagram, but he's just talking mad crazy. And this is kind of, people got to see a little behind the scenes of how guys talk to one another when you're going against your former teammates. and I can go through a laundry list of story, but a good story, not more so using that kind of language, is you're texting now and calling your former teammates and say, hey man, tell such and such he better watch out. Good one is Lorenzo Neal telling me to tell Randall Godfrey don't run in there like that, or I'm a hurt him, and he didn't say that like that. He said I'm a
Yes.
him. So say, hey, he said he followed that up real nice and said, and I do like him a lot. So tell him that. I said, oh, okay, I will. I will relay.
This was by then a former Titan, Lorenzo Neal.
He was with Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm got good backdrop
Yeah.
there. Yeah, he was with the Bengals. Funny, we played the Bengals, lost, and I was injured and I wasn't playing. So I told Randall was just like, yeah, whatever, man, I'm gonna get him. I'm like, okay. I said, hey, man, I done worked out this dude. Hey, this guy's not the one to be playing with. He says, oh no, I know. I said, seriously, Randall, just he said. Just don't hurt yourself leading with your head. That's what he said. Don't be leading with your head, because he said that thing gonna be rolling off your body.
Right.
I mean, he said it in a nasty way, and
Sure.
he was in game mode. This is going to the game. I'm on the bus, and he calling me in his voice is totally different than when hey, chopping up. Hey, let's have a good time. I was like, uh-oh, this is not good. It sounded like it was Darth Vader. Like I was like, ooh, hey,
what happened?
Who is this? Oh, so I'm going to tell you what happened. This is what happened. I'm sure I'm going to tell you what happened. We get in the game. Lorenzo Neal, Cincinnati Bengals, going against Randall Godfrey, and they go head on. And I said, oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Stop.
Oh, no.
Don't do it, Randall. He hit this guy. He hit Randall so hard. Randall fell down, and his pride got him up. And he wobbled to the sidelines.
Wobbled.
Wobbled. He was in it. He had a concussion. He was wobbling to the sideline. And so I'm running down telling it, because I'm looking from afar at the other end, because I'm trying to stay everybody's way, but I'm watching it. And I knew it was going to happen. And I run down there and yell to the trainer, get Randall, get Randall. Randall comes off. They grab his arm before he gets off the field, and bring him and sit down. And they talking to him, going over to, can you see, and this and that. And so after all that leaves, I got to finish it. Randall looks at me, and he's got tears rolling down his face. And then he's still in football mode. He says, how bad did it look? And I said, hey, man, I told you, don't run in there with your head. And so, I mean, man, he's just that powerful. You got to know how to attack certain players. You got to have your game plan. And so I'm up here sweating now, man, just thinking about that whole deal. I mean, it was just exciting at the same time. He got Donald Mitchell, too, that day on kickoff. He just gave him a drive-by forearm and hit him driving by. Reason
What
why
about D-Mitch? He's not going at it.
No, it was on kickoff.
Oh,
it was on kickoff. He just hit him on the drive-by, and boom, he depleted him, concussed him, too. All right. A reason why I told Randall this, because typically I don't like, getting in the middle of stuff like this, is because, Lorenzo's a good guy. Randall was a great guy. We had the same age, and we were good friends in his family. Is that I didn't want to see something bad happen. And the backdrop to it is I saw Lorenzo Neal, when we played for the Titans, tell me all week, and everybody on the team, when we're playing the Ravens, that he was going to annihilate Ray Lewis. And I'm serious now. He said it every day. He says, I'm going to call him. I'm going to tell him I'm going to hit him dead with this right down. He kept saying right down, and I'm going to hit him dead in his jaw. He hit him dead in his jaw, depleted him, and rolled him like he was a rug. He rolled him like it was a rug and yelled to the sideline, see, I told y'all, this is what I'm going to do. So this guy is not a guy to be messing with. You do not run head-to-head into this guy. He's too powerful. He's a pit bull on steroids. And he wasn't on steroids. But, good Lord.
I'm talking about Barry Bonds these days.
I worked out with him in the offseason a couple of days. I couldn't work out with him ever again. He's the only guy, ever. He had my leg. I couldn't walk. He had me doing these squat things that he was laughing at me. He was laughing. I just man, how many reps are we going to do, man? He said, we're going to do till we drop. I said, I'm not doing that. I can't even walk, man. I don't know how many reps, man. This guy. Ooh.
Who did he call little buddy? Hello.
Oh. Well, he called everybody. Everybody was little buddy to a certain extent. Yeah. He was a powerful individual. And he ended up playing like 15, 16 years at fullback.
Hey,
I was retired like 5 years, and I ran on the field and just gave him a hug and said, man, how are you doing? He just started laughing. He said, hey, man, they can't get rid of little buddy. They can't get rid of little buddy.
Oh, my gosh.
So, that was a lot of ding dongs, but
Oh,
that
my
wasn't
gosh.
even going there. Oh, okay, and my other
That was
one.
so worth it, though.
Oh, here's my realistic one. Oh, my ding dong. I got to give you, I know I told you a great story there, but is the Bills kicking into the end zone with the 13 seconds left. They should have squib kicked. Squib kick, by the way, guys, is just trying to kick it through the ground after the first line and make sure it hits somebody and goes on the ground. They have to return it so you take off precious seconds. That could have took 3 or 4 seconds for sure off the clock, and maybe that wouldn't have got the last pass to Kelsey.
I agree.
See that? See, that's game management. I guarantee you Mike Vrabel would have squib kicked. So that was my other ding dong, keeping it sports all the way. You're still laughing at the Lorenzo Neal.
Yeah, I'm
hey,
sorry.
man, this guy's. Remember, I told you he put something in my coffee, and I said I'm never doing that. I thought I was gonna have a heart attack running out the tunnel. I said, hey, man, give me some of that coffee. He said, yeah, sure, here. And he gave it to me, and I took a couple sips. I ran out of the tunnel, and my heart was beating so fast, I thought I was going to actually have a heart attack. I got scared. I got that scared. I went and told the trainer, I said, hey, man, something wrong with my, I don't know, I can't breathe. I was like, oh, my God. And so I went over to Lorenzo and said, hey, man, what is it, that coffee? And he said, he just started laughing just like that. He said, oh, some of the Low Daddy secret sauce. What the heck is wrong with you, man?
It could be anything.
It could be anything. Exactly. And I said, I will never do that again. I'm not drinking anybody's, no water, no nothing. I was like, I'm not doing that ever again. I really thought I was going to have a heart attack.
You think Lorenzo Neal still drinks the secret sauce for anything?
You think
I
that
don't
was
think
deer,
I don't think
deer
he needs
antler
to get
spray?
pumped up for anything. But man, I don't know. No. But man, this guy, he was a character, man. He was an absolute great dude, character, and kept everything light in the locker room. You got to have a guy like that in the locker room, man. You got to have. I wonder who the Titans guys like that. I mean, he would do crazy stuff. He would he was a big time wrestler. We came out the same year. He pushed the sumo wrestler out of the thing, right? He just was a champion. All right, we get in the locker room. He challenged every offensive lineman that he could pin him in like 3 minutes. He pinned every last one of them in 3 minutes. I mean, we're talking about 6'5", 340. He would pin them. They would tap out.
Did he get Bruce Matthews?
No, Bruce said, nope, I've seen enough. He said, I've seen you do enough, Bruce. I believe you.
He didn't go first, though.
Yeah,
Y'all take a crack at this.
No. He didn't go first.
Oh, my gosh. All right, Lucas, let me compose myself. Let's take this break. There's people on the phone. I need to give my 10-part ding-dong. People are weighing in with ding-dongs on the chat here. We just got ding-dongs and Low Neal stories everywhere.
Yeah, man,
Let's catch our breath. We'll be right back.
The heck wrong with you, man?
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. I'll get to my 10-part ding dong in a minute, but we want to make sure to take your phone calls today. 615-737-1045 Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Bam in Nashville will lead us off in this segment. What's up, Bam?
How y'all doing today, fellas?
Fantastic.
Great.
You know what? I think we can have a ding-dong of 2022. Not for the week. I think for the year.
Man.
What's that?
It's a mighty big ding dong.
It is. And the award goes to, drum roll, please, Todd Downing.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah, all that good stuff. Listen, man, look, I just don't see, Ryan's regression has a lot to do. Let me just say this. I want to see how I pray we don't keep him, but just in case, whatever, I just want to see how his confidence is going to work with this. Now, I tell Mike to go take Sean Payton out to dinner and just kind of see if he can bring that OC over here. I mean, I think that, but yeah, Downing ain't it, man. And I don't know why Mike wants to torture us again. I know what they're saying about the Shane Bowen. But the thing is, when Mike actually named him defensive coordinator, he let him have the reins, but he also brought in somebody to help him get this defense where they needed to go. 2020, we didn't have a defensive coordinator. Am I right or am I wrong?
Nope.
Well, depending on who you ask, they would say yes or no, but sure didn't seem like
cool.
it. Yeah.
So, but now with this year, it being on Shane, we saw results from Shane. We also saw results from Todd. Todd ain't it. And these boys, like Blaine just said, we have a very short window. We have a very, very short window. After this year, I doubt we see Julio again. Derek is starting to, age a little. These boys don't have forever, and we don't have 24 years for Todd to get it right. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to go get that boy Tim Kelly, and I think we need to ride off to the sunset with this, man.
There you go. Bam.
Oh, the guy from the Texans?
Yeah, the Undertaker's brother.
Oh.
Let's get Dennis in Eagleville next. Dennis, thank you for calling.
You bet. Hey, guys, I wanted to give props to, I guess it was Amani Cooper, who a hooker, who slid and stopped Jamar Chase and the other guy from Jamar Chase from getting a touchdown in the game. I thought that was one of the best plays of the game, and it seems to be overlooked. So.
Hooker's a great player and a real nice first year as a starter for this team.
Yeah, who had a lot of playing time. He's talking about when the Chase got I'm not going to call it.
The screen, the catch and run.
Well, I don't even know if that was a screen, but they just threw it out there to him because they're playing off coverage. Yeah. That's why Fulton the next series then started playing uptight in bell technique when you have deep third, because in the league you just throw it out there, and it's hard to tackle those guys in open space in the league.
57 on the first one, I think.
And then nothing big happened again until, on other guys, but just out cuts and things of that nature. That was a great play, great hustle. I think Cunningham eventually was the guy who made the tackle, who hustled all the way down there. Somebody slid, as he mentioned, and made him cut back. I saw Byer chasing as well. That's just pride in the defense, live for another down. So I don't recall, did they get points on that or did they not get any? They got a field goal.
I want to say they got a field goal out of it.
Yeah. So you save 4 points there. In reality, which you can look back over the film, if you would have won, said that could have been a winning play.
Yeah.
That's good.
Lucas, I've got a 10-part ding-dong. I know you have a second one that you would like to share. Let's get the ding-dong out in the open here.
Yeah, I was going to go Quentin Spain, but I actually have to go Lawrence Tynes, former kicker of the New York Giants, former Super Bowl winning kicker, and now he hosts a podcast for the New York Post. He quoted this blurb, a quote from Joe Burrow from back in October from NBC Sports, where Burrow said, "It gets way louder in the SEC than any of these NFL stadiums," asking about the environments he's been playing in as a young player. Lawrence quoted it today and said, "To be fair, Joe has never played at Arrowhead. Having said that, he is in for a rude awakening. There is no place louder in sports, and it's not up for debate." It very much is up for debate, and Lawrence Tynes is my ding-dong of the week because Joe Burrow will be playing in front of 77,000 screaming fans at Arrowhead, however many there are on Sunday. But he's also played in front of 84,000 screaming fans on the Plains at Auburn, in front of over 100,000 screaming fans at night in Tuscaloosa, on a weekly basis in Death Valley. I think Joe Burrow is going to be just fine. Lawrence Tynes is my ding-dong of the week.
Isn't it funny when
Good
people
call.
when people kind of sound off on something, you realize, okay, this guy doesn't have any
Have
idea.
no idea.
The dog he's trying to pet here that
Yeah.
is going to bite him.
And he's from Scotland, which is cool. I didn't
Yep.
know that. He kicked for the Giants. You know, he's based out of New York, I guess. So it's okay. He doesn't know much about SEC football, but he's very wrong. He's my ding-dong of the week.
All right, my 10-part ding-dong, Titans offense is my ding-dong of the week. Here you go. Numbers 1 through 10 included in this ding-dong. They couldn't get 1 yard for a 2-point conversion, and 3 times during the game, they couldn't get that 1 yard. So there's your 1, 2, and 3. Only 4 people caught a pass for the Titans in that game. 5 times this season, they lost a game when turning the ball over 3 or more times, including this one. My number 6 in this 10-part ding-dong is actually a double 6. They scored 6 points on 6 first-half drives. 7 and 8, the offense missed on 7 of 8 third downs in the game.
Ooh, man, this took a lot of work, man. I'm interested to see how this closes out.
9 is the number 9 sacks that the defense got that the offense still couldn't do anything with. And here you go. My final part of this 10-part ding-dong, 10, which is the number of second-half points that the offense scored when it needed 13 to win.
Ooh.
10-part ding-dong.
That was a little sound of those rhyming there.
I wasn't even trying to rhyme.
Yeah, that's rhyming there.
Titans offense is my ding-dong of the week. Literally all you had to do, because we talked about it all week. I had the turnover number. It was 11 and 2 when they had 2 or less turnovers, and 1 and 4 when they had 3 or more turnovers. 3 or more. And what did they do? They go out and they turned it over 3 times, including the last pick when they weren't being aggressive. It didn't seem like they weren't. They seemed to content almost to either kick a field goal or just let the game go into overtime, and even that didn't work out. By the way, that was NWI, and I think other people have said this. That was his first and only target of the day. It was on the last play of the game.
Had to get him in.
Yeah.
And the corner just sat on the route, too. I think it was Eli Apple.
It was Apple that was the guy everybody saying, pick on him this game. He got the very last laugh. Well, him and that kicker who's telling people over there about to go to the AFC Championship game. So let's take one last phone call. John in Clarksville. What's going on, John?
Yeah, I just want to chime in on Tannehill. It seems like it's that last pass when you were going down to try to win the game. Now, that pass, what I saw, that pass was on the numbers. Now, I've seen Tom Brady and other quarterbacks just throw it in there just like that, just as hard as that. I've seen Brett Favre do it. I've seen the receiver catch it. Now, if that receiver catches that pass, we're talking about a whole different thing here. And I know there's plenty of Blaine to go around, but if he catches that pass, we're talking a whole different game here. And I think people need to think about that. But
it's a fair point, John. I mean, it did get to his hands.
It did.
A lot of people say
it touched. Well, I mean, he reached his hands out.
But Apple had a hand in. He was covered.
When I'm talking about sit on the route, he sat on the route. He broke his cushion. He didn't believe that he was going to run past him, and so he sat and broke on the play. And maybe NWI got a hand on it, but he didn't get 2 hands on it. And there was a lot of traffic around there. We could talk about
what did you think of that play design? You had Ferkser down. You had Ferkser underneath.
Yeah, I didn't. The play design was fine. I didn't think he should have just dumped it off to Ferkser.
Yeah,
take what they're giving you. But sometimes it doesn't work out. Also, we don't know the fundamentals of the whole play. Did he run it deep enough? Did he come back sooner? I mean, or was he supposed to run it shorter? I mean, there's a whole bunch of things that we don't know. That's a timing route that went for naught. So I just that was a tough one there. But man, he sure had Ferkser across the middle. Don't. Easy play, and he would have ran for a first down too, by the way.
That's why I gave my ding-dong, not just to Tannehill or Downing, but the entire offense. They all get a ding-dong for the final ding-dong of the year from them. All right, we got to take a break. Hour number 2 coming up. Coach Mack in about 20 minutes. Also continuing to take your calls if you want to jump in the mix, talk about anything. We're here for you, 615-737-1045, Blaine and Mickey.
It is 2:02. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. This broke about an hour ago in the NFL. New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton is stepping down after over 15 years at the helm. Speaking of staff changes, the Titans undergoing some of their own. Reported earlier today by 3HL's very own Brent Doherty. Inside linebackers coach Jim Haslett is out, as well as assistant D-line coach Kenichi Udeze. Buck Rising later reporting that assistant special teams coach Matt Edwards is out, and then John Glennon adding at the end assistant strength and conditioning coach Mondre Gee also out of the Titans coaching staff. Around the league, Adam Schefter reporting the Bears are finalizing a deal to hire Chiefs Assistant Director of Player Personnel Ryan Poles as their next general manager. Back to the Titans, no offensive staff changes, and Mike Vrabel spoke with the media yesterday during the Titans locker room cleanout day in his end-of-season press conference, and he spoke about his offensive coordinator, Todd Downing.
I think Todd does a great job. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a hard worker. You know, there's always going to be calls you'd like to have back. There's plays you'd like to have back. But I don't evaluate things. You know, I try to see how guys communicate with each other, the players. Are we all on the same page? Is there, good communication? How do we do on third down? How do we do in the red zone? And, things have to be better in all three phases each and every year. I love the relationship that Todd has with the assistant coaches and the players, and we'll all continue to improve.
College hoops, Belmont defeated Eastern Illinois 90-56 on Monday. The Bruins improved to 15-5, and the Preds are back in action on the road at the Seattle Kraken. Seattle defeated Nashville in the season opener at Bridgestone Arena earlier this season. Preds are third in the Central. Kraken are last in the Pacific. Puck drop tonight is at 9 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once, and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up? Happy Tuesday to you. It's Tuesday. I'm just checking myself here before I wreck myself. Tuesday all day long. We did our Ding Dong of the Week segment earlier. By the way, Brett Batchelor, one of our coworkers, gave himself a ding dong because we were in the press box at the game on Saturday. I said, does anybody have a sheet of paper I could borrow? He gave me a sheet of notebook paper the size of a Post-it note. So what am I supposed to do with this? I'll just write on the hand. What is this? What's with tiny paper?
What is this,
that's
all I got.
For ants?
That's when That's when I knew that bad things were going to happen. When my coworker hands me an entire sheet of paper that would fit in the palm of my tiny hand. And I'm just like, take this thing back. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but I am at this because there's nothing I can do. What is this? A school for ants? Hey,
hilarious.
Y'all
and
wanted,
he tweeted out. He tweeted to
he
you.
gave himself a ding dong.
I couldn't even see the paper in the man's hand there.
Y'all wanted staff changes. Hey, hit the breaking news. Oh, we have both.
Breaking Titans news on 104.5 The Zone.
Y'all wanted staff changes. Let's go to the news desk now. Do you want to hit this, Lucas Panzica, or do you want me to? Because I couldn't do it without laughing. I'm not laughing that it happened to somebody, but everybody was wanted just to burn down the village after the game on Saturday. They burned down like the 17th suburb of the village.
Yeah, you can check the boxes. Jim Haslett, inside linebackers coach, out. Assistant defensive line coach Kenichi Udeze out. Assistant special teams coach Matt Edwards out, and assistant strength and conditioning coach Mondre Gee are out. I hope I am pronouncing that correctly.
He's actually G. I looked it up.
G. Okay.
It says his name is literally pronounced like a letter G.
Mondre Gee.
Yeah, I only got it because I looked it up.
Well, he's not on the Titan staff anymore.
So that's a combination of Brent Doherty and Buck Rising and John Glennon announcing those. Want to make sure credit where credit is due. But for everybody who wanted all this other, Coach Carnage, that's it. Like the assistant to the traveling secretary, and then like some guy who had been there a couple of times. And then, like, another guy who had some Titans gear.
That's the Titans. They just found a guy with gear in the building.
Yes.
That's the Titans Black Tuesday of 2022.
So I don't want anybody to get fired. I'm not making light of the situation, but anytime things don't go the way you want them to, people always want people to get fired. And there were people who got fired, but nobody who had really anything directly to do with the Titans offense at all this season. I'm never surprised because there are always going to be some staff changes. I was kind of surprised that this was necessarily the road that they went down. just like assistants to people, and then Jim Haslett,
who had no clout to anything. Haslett may have, I mean, he's 66. He may have just said, "Hey, man, I think I'm stressed all out, man. I got to
just
retire."
have at it.
Yeah. So man, these are just moves just to, pacify that they got rid of some people. But things like this happen all the time. I just wanted to see if they were going to make any huge moves, and just like I don't think any huge moves are going to be done with the players. We shall see, though, with that cap situation, as you were addressing, if that happens after everything settles down, and none of them being Tannehill at this point in time. I don't see how they can get out of that cap number. But I'm not a capologist like you, Mickey, or Marino. But if there's a will, there's a way. So. But you have to, have some partners in this and see if you can get somebody that's going to be better. And I think if you do the totality of 3 years that he's been the starter, I think it's just going to be hard to get somebody that's better than him. At this point in time, through trade or what have you, it's just going to take a lot of capital, draft capital, salary. I mean, just think, everybody's talking about Russell Wilson. Really? Okay. I like Russell Wilson too. He's a great player. Yeah, he's better than Tannehill. Okay, let's trade for him. Then you got to pay him $40 million a year. You got to give him a new contract. They got to be willing to trade for him too, by the way. And if you're talking about trading, let's lowball him. We really can go another year with Russell Wilson. I mean, we can ride this train out another year. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of moving parts here that it's hard to do. This is not like college. Get rid of the coach, get rid of the quarterback, and it's not that simple. So you're heavily invested in them.
Well, and all the people who want Aaron Rodgers, that dude wants like $40 million a year if he keeps playing. I mean, he wants $40 million a year. I made here's your free agents. Like, these are the guys that you just say, here's what we'll pay you. Do you want to? You send them the note over. Do you want
the same note?
Do you
got
like
that little
me?
Small piece of paper.
Yes, no, maybe. Yes, on Brett Batchelor's paper, which is like the size of my thumbnail. You needed a magnifying glass. Free agent quarterbacks. Here you go. I just put down like some of the names I thought people would know.
Okay.
Just like this guy's on the street as soon as the new league year begins. These are free agents.
So all we got to do is compare them to see if they're better than Tannehill.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. There we go.
With guys who would just cost you whatever they negotiated to come and work for you for,
So I'm going to give you your no or yes.
Okay.
All right.
Andy Dalton.
No.
Tyrod Taylor.
No.
Jameis.
No.
Jacoby Brissett.
No.
99 problems, but a Mitch ain't one Trubisky.
Oh, no.
Teddy Bridgewater.
No.
That's by far the best of them.
That's the best.
That's like I sorted through this. I combed the desert. That's the best I could come up with.
Equivalent to him, but I think Tannehill's better.
Well, that's like those are the guys.
And those are solid names. Here's the thing with Tannehill to me is he's got all the qualities to be a good quarterback, and we need the quarterback to be elite. Now, when I say elite, he's not going to change who he is, but you're trying to look at his traits. His traits is he has a great leadership. He's accurate, very athletic, has a big arm. He has accuracy. He has all these things, but there's one thing that we're not sure on. That's why he can't get over the snide in the playoffs is he clutch? And, the first thing when you say Andy Dalton, I could probably say some of those same things too, but he couldn't get him over the snide in the playoffs. Now, some of that is when you're the quarterback, it's the other pieces around you, but you can't be the liability when you have those pieces around you.
Right.
And so we have to see if he can actually be the guy. You could say he had pieces at, Julio, and then you had A.J. Brown, and then you have the King was back, or whoever you want to put back there for him, and, sometimes, throughout the season. So that's why I say I have to give it one more year to see if he can psychologically win and play better in that situation. I think the organization, if I was them, I would be patient enough to wait. And the cap tells them what they've invested in them, that's probably the best thing to do, and don't knee-jerk react and just let it settle down, go back, evaluate him over 3 years, and you say, all right, let's see if there's a possibility he can get over that snide. And that's why I was bringing up to Steve Young the other day, not to compare Steve Young to Tannehill. We all know Steve Young's a Hall of Famer. Tannehill probably is and is not. All right, but that doesn't mean you can't win a Super Bowl with a really good quarterback. And and I was talking about the pressure that he had in that he could never get over the hump, and he kept losing NFC championships for like 3 years in a row after following, at the time, the greatest quarterback of all time in Joe Montana. So let's talk about that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
And then eventually he broke through the ice and got it on, well, maybe it was his third time or the fourth time, and finally won a Super Bowl and got to a Super Bowl. So that's what I was really comparing it to, the actual situation. And if you stick with them now, different era, different time, everybody wants instant success right now. And I don't know if you can really do that. You just can say, I don't know if he can get us in past the second round of the playoffs. And so some people will say, I've had enough sample size and he can't get it done. Well, you can say that at the same sense. You got to try it one more time if you're in the organization when you look at his cap number and you went all in.
Right. There's several people in the Zone TV chat who keep saying Gardner Minshew, he's not a free agent.
And where did they traded him to somewhere, right?
Eagles. So he's got one more year left on his deal. But, I mean, I wouldn't mind having him as a backup.
Yeah, I like him as a backup.
But
he's kind of a Ryan Fitzpatrick, younger Ryan.
He's a free agent.
Right. He's
Ryan
on that
Fitzpatrick.
mode. You know, he has this, macho way about him, fearlessness, about him. He's tough. I just don't know. He may have the it. That's the part that's missing, really, is the it. Like, when it comes down to it, I don't. Just think about this now. Garoppolo, Golf, is Tannehill better than both of those guys? Up to debate. But they both, reason why I bring those guys up, both of those guys have played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They couldn't get it done, and the teams, moved on. Well, Garoppolo's still there. But they tried to. They brought in the first round.
They drafted a first-round
they touched
quarterback.
him. It's like, And I wouldn't be shocked if he's still gone after the season.
Yeah, I think he has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was something there with them that they thought they didn't have it. Has all the talent, but they didn't have it. And it is clutch. And so can you get over it? So they were patient enough to wait one more year. So I would think the Titans should kind of follow that model. I don't know if you draft a quarterback first round, but maybe third round, since you don't have a second, or maybe you trade to get into the second and get a quality backup quarterback that you can kind of groom and prepare yourself for the transition from him to another quarterback that's young and up and coming. Then you have a small salary, or I guess cap number, until you continue to build around, and hopefully you pick the right one. And it's a guessing game when it comes to those quarterbacks. Nobody knows who's going to be great, good, or so-so and career backup guy.
Sure. We got to back this thing up to the commercial break as Coach Mack is set to join us here in just a couple of minutes. That's right, Coach Dave McGinnis. Final Titans season Mack Attack coming up next on Blaine and Mickey. Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. You hear that music. It only means one thing. That means the Mac Attack. Coach Dave McGinnis. Coach, I sure as heck hoped that this was going to be the previewing the AFC Championship game version of the Mac Attack, but instead we'll be looking back on this season. Coach, good to have you, though, as always, under any circumstances.
Well, thanks, Mickey. Hi, Blaine. Yeah, I mean, I think we were all expecting to work quite a bit longer, with this season moving forward, and it didn't. And that's, the reality of the finality of the National Football League playoffs is just brutal. And if you've experienced it, which you guys have, our listeners have, which I have for over half my adult life in this league, when you move on, it's the greatest feeling in the world. I mean, the excitement and the energy in this city for the last 2 weeks has been incredible. I attended the pep rally that we had Friday night, down there. It was incredible, just incredible. And then the energy in that stadium and everything surrounding it, because that's what we do it for. And then when you lose the ball game, clearly everybody, and you run through a lot of range of emotions. But here we are. The thing that's true, though, guys, and you guys know this, and it's the machine that is the National Football League. It keeps moving. Yeah. It keeps moving regardless of what your individual team's outcome is. And so you've got to get on that track because things have a deadline to them. And whether you win or lose, that same deadline is still sitting there. And I'm talking about, the date that the league year starts. I'm talking about, the date for free agency to start. I'm talking about the date as to where you have to have, a top 51 under contract. All of this stuff now continues to move forward regardless of what you're doing. But yes, and the other thing that is very painful about this is we can all sit here, and I'm sure everybody's done the same thing since Saturday night, is imagine what you would be doing if we were still playing.
It's interesting, Coach, because we'll be doing the post-game show, and a guy might call in and say, well, I played high school ball, and, we always ran that. And everybody kind of gets a laugh about that. This is so much different from that. But here's the one time where it's not different. If you ever played anything in your life and you gave it everything you had and the season ended and not in the championship game with you holding up a trophy, there's a whole heck of a lot of people who know what that feels like. They know that feeling.
Well, I mean, and as I say, and yet that feeling only comes if you're fully invested in it.
Yes.
And that's where the feeling comes from, because if you don't care, then you're not invested enough emotionally to have it have any impact on you. But there's a lot of emotional investment in the Tennessee Titans here. There was a large amount this year. There will be a large amount next year. But when you're invested and then it's not successful, you it's like you're grieving over it, which is fine. And again, everybody has and I'm in the role that I have now here, I'm open to everybody's opinion because of this. Everybody deserves to express their opinion. That's why, with myself and Mike Keith and Amy and Rant, we did the Mike Grable show on Monday. Took all the callers, and you guys take all the callers, and that's, I'm always open to that, and because they deserve, to express and to emote what they feel, because what they are feeling, regardless of the depth of their football knowledge, that doesn't really matter. Their emotions are their emotions, and they're legitimate.
Mm. Coach Mack, bringing us the Mac Attack, courtesy of our friends, the good people at Farm Bureau Health Plans. If you need great health care coverage and affordable price, let Farm Bureau Health Plans coach you through it. They got you covered, just like Coach Mack has us covered each week during this segment on Tuesday.
Yeah, and you talk about somebody that's invested in Farm Bureau Health Plans. Those people have been fabulous. I mean, I can just say since ever I've been here, and I know even before that, and the things that they did, I mean, they have been absolutely fabulous. And it's, as I said, there's a large investment by a lot of people, guys, and you guys know it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mac Attack here. And Coach, I've naturally been in some horrific losses and heartbreaking, and it kind of hurts your soul, and you're scarred, and you never get over them, as you know. But you've been in some big games and throughout your coaching career over a long haul. Where would you rank, even just with the Titans organizations, which you were part of too as well, where would you rank this loss because of the expectations that were so high?
Well, any playoff loss is going to hurt. And I like the word that you used Blaine, when you first started this with you and I. You said scar, and it does. It's like a scar because a scar will heal, but it's always there. And so that's what this is. I mean, I've had some great victories in this league coaching. You've had some great victories playing, but the scar that a loss puts on you, especially the bigger the stakes, and the stakes are always the biggest in the playoffs. Okay, I mean, I've got a scar from that 2008 season. Keith Bullock and I and CJ2K were talking about it on stage at the pep rally. That's a scar. That's a scar we wanted to see, be able to be at least salved over a little bit, with this football team. Well, this is a scar, but it's not. A scar doesn't kill you, but it hurts you for a while, and you'll always feel it. And what it does is it just reminds you of how much you want to reach that final prize.
Well, Coach, I guess give us your observation on, I guess, the quarterback play in Tannehill, maybe just in this game, but then how would you look at it from an organizational view over his time period? Because that's how I would look at him over a 3-year window in his career. I guess start with the game and then, the things that went wrong. I don't know all the details of, was NWI supposed to run the route shorter or, little bitty things like that, and those things that coaches sit down with the organization and in a gym and kind of go over what actually happened.
Well, I mean, let's talk about the game. You can't turn it over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone through that this year, and that's not just with Ryan Tannehill. That's with anybody that plays quarterback in this league. You've got to protect the football, and the further you advance, and if you advance you got to protect the football in the tournament for this reason. When you're playing in the tournament, you're playing against good teams. Now, it was evident. We saw evidence this year that if you turn it over against teams that are not so good and accomplished, they can still beat you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you just can't turn the ball over. You've got to protect the football. And as I say, I don't have any idea, as you said, and I'm glad you said that about exactly what went on and who was what. But it all comes back. It's always like anything in the National Football League. It always comes back to the quarterback on the field. It always comes back to the head coach, which I've experienced personally. And so you can't turn it over. That's the broadest expanse I could look at it on, is you just cannot turn it over. And that proved to be the difference in the ball game, because you look on the flip side of it. And again, it doesn't matter if you lose, but just, the defensive effort in this football game with everything on the line, especially with that group up front and the defense as a whole. Now, you missed a spot tackle that we talked about, all week is going to be important against them, that gave them an explosive. You still, were not able to do enough to take the ball away from them. But we all know that takeaways are a little harder to come by, than protecting the football, because when the giveaways come when you already have the football. So I would say, first of all, protect the football. That's incredibly important.
Yeah, well, I guess that led me down. Being a former head coach, Coach Mack, how did you handle the big losses when you address not only the media, and I know it's two different deals, but also the fan base who are outraged with the expectations so high?
Well, sure, and the outrage, and they feel bad, just like, and there's nobody that feels worse, and there's nobody that has more at stake. Now, look, the fan base is outraged, and they've got a lot invested too. They invest their time, they invest their emotions, they invest their money, but the players and coaches invest their livelihood, right? And so, it's a sick feeling. It really is. And so, when you talk to your team, and it's different in talking with your team, because you have talked with them all year in meetings about wins and losses, and about not getting too high and not getting too low. But you also understand that within everything that happens that is not good, there was a lot of good that went on also. But always in a loss, especially a playoff loss, a lot of that stuff just gets overshadowed. I started to mention it earlier, just the play of the defensive front. I mean, we witnessed something that was historic in a playoff, with 11 sacks, really, and 9 sacks that counted on the stat sheet. And they just kept coming and basically kept the football team in the game when the ball was being turned over. Now, the fans, again, that's why I say in this job that I have now, in my position now, being able to talk with the fans. That's why whenever I'm on, I always accept all calls because they've got a right to express their opinion.
No doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack giving us the Mack attack.
Coach, it's interesting because you go through the shock and the finality of the end of the season, which we've talked a whole lot about. As a coach, you certainly address your team and, guys start to go their separate ways and, maybe they take a little time off or whatever. They, figure out their off-season plans, but like today, there were staff changes for the Titans. There have already guys who've gotten fired. What are these first couple of weeks or so like for a coaching staff when a season ends, especially when you're a head coach, when you're a guy who's having to make decisions right now?
Yeah, Mickey, I've made those decisions too. I've been on I've made those decisions also. And again, the one thing that is constant that you guys are very well aware of, and I think our listeners are very well aware of, but I want to remind everybody, the one thing that's constant in the National Football League is change. And that always comes. And it's never a knee-jerk reaction. The worst thing you want to do is make a knee-jerk reaction with change, but with well-thought-out change, then change always comes in the National Football League. So it's not anything different. I'm sure each individual case was an individual case because that's always the way it was on all the staffs that I was on for 31 years. It's always an individual case, and there's an individual reason why changes are made, both on your coaching staff and in your locker room, but change is inevitable in this league.
I have just a general coaching question for you, and I know we got an off season to discuss this, but this is such a hot topic. At the end of the Bills and Kansas City game, it looked like the Bills had it won. There were 13 seconds left. They kicked it deep instead of squibbing it and making the ball bounce a little bit. I have to ask you, because you're our head coach of Titans Radio, in that situation, philosophically, do you say, I'm going to squib kick it and try to waste some time? Or is the right call, do you think, kick it deep and think, okay, it's only 13 seconds. We can stop them from the 25?
Well, in that situation, I think you look at this. Except for your opponent, what is your biggest enemy in that situation? Besides your opponent, what is your biggest enemy in that situation if you are kicking the ball off and you have that lead? The biggest enemy is time, correct?
Yes, sir.
And so you try to take as much time as you can off without compromising field position. And so I guess my answer to that would be kick it short or kick it on the ground so it starts bouncing down there and takes up a little bit more time. Because, and again, look, guys, we know how bad we feel, and I could care how less bad anybody else feels. But I watch every one of those games. You guys do too, and
sure.
I look at it, and I just can't help it. I put myself in those situations, and you can imagine that the people up there in Buffalo are a little bit sick right now too.
Oh, hey, man, everybody ends the year sick except for one team,
There you go.
Yes, they do.
There you go.
Coach Dave McGinnis, our guest, giving us a Mac attack on Blaine and Mickey.
Well, Coach, now it's been 3 years in a row, I guess. How do you, everybody has a window. How do you as a coach sit down and think about, okay, how long do we have in this window? Because at some point it's going to end, and you try to stay ahead of the curve as a coaching staff and as well as an organization. Because I think the window is getting shorter by the moment, and maybe only one more year left with Tannehill at the quarterback. So talk about, I guess, how that goes into the equation of the organization and the thought process.
Well, and it's a valid question, but because that's the evaluation that has to go on, because the way the salary cap is structured, the way the draft is structured, and the way that you have to put a team together, you always have to be thinking at least 3 years ahead, because everything has to interlock as far as what you're doing with your salary cap and where it's going to be, and what you say is true. You reach a point as to where everything seems to be coming together, and you've got that correct blend of, because you're going to pay big money for some people, and you're going to have some people on lesser, earlier contracts, and then hopefully you can fill in, which they did a masterful job of this year with people that you evaluate and bring in. Of course, with 91, that was unheard of. But when you've got your team is going to change every year. But these thought processes the main thing that's going to happen is, and it's a little bit pandemic related, because the cap's going to go up. Cap's going to go up, I think, probably about 200. It'll be about 208, probably 208, and some change, which is not as big as it would have been without the pandemic. And some of these contracts were made before we even knew what the word pandemic was going to mean to us. But you've got to be able to fit those things. And as long as you've got some viable pieces together, and you look at it and say, first of all, can we be competitive, and can we win our division? And then if we win our division, then where can we go? That's what you have to look at. And so, yeah, I mean, it's what they've been looking at ahead of this time even more. But now, and those timelines that I talked about earlier, Blaine, that are going to come along, those signposts in the National Football League that come, you're going to have those decisions made by then.
Take us through, as a head coach, when your season ends abruptly, your quarterback – is played up and down all season, and you have that last meeting with him. What are your conversations with him at that point in time if he didn't play very well?
Well, you don't make any conversations lengthy or any decisions that are going to be far-reaching off of emotion. Okay.
Right.
So the first meeting, the last meeting you had before everybody packs their bag and leaves out of the locker room, that's not when you have those type of discussions. You let it sit for a while. You let it sit for a while, because we were all emotionally spent after that game. I was, you guys were.
Oh yeah.
The team was, everybody was, and you can't. The worst thing that you can do, especially in competitive sports, especially in professional sports, is make a knee-jerk reaction off of an emotional event that happens. And as I say, I talk about those signposts along the way and those deadlines. You have to have meaningful conversations from now until then. But right after the game or the day after the game, that's not the time to have a decision-making conversation.
Oh, no doubt about it. We're on with Coach Mack, giving us the Mack attack. I guess one more for me, and it's more about looking at Henry. And I kept using the word rusty before this game even played, but maybe the term is not as sharp as he normally is, just because he hasn't been playing, which is tough for anybody to do. I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it nowhere near it, especially a running back. But, I mean, it's just when you look at him and then you looked at what Foreman was doing, what back looked better to you?
Well, I mean, to me, Derrick Henry is still the main back.
Yeah, he's still the main back, and he's the better back, but on this day.
Yeah, well, coming out, first of all, I didn't think Henry looked like he was. I didn't think he looked at all like he was favoring it, like he was dragging it. What I did look at and see was as soon as he was introduced, and then he was introduced as a starting tailback, you saw 8.5 people on the line of scrimmage, correct?
So was I that half guy?
yeah, the 8.5. You saw 8.5 up there. They were up there quite a bit. Now, when Foreman came in, when you look at the tape, there, they still had the same, but it wasn't. See, I promise you this, that when they were, we were talking all week, and all they heard about was Henry was coming back. They were bound and determined, regardless of what happened anywhere else in that game, they were going to be sure that they weren't going to be able to be the team that immediately let Derrick Henry jump out with that first carry and go 65 yards. I did see that.
Well, with Coach Mack giving us the back attack.
Coach, we appreciate the time as always. It always goes by too fast, but always great catching up with you, and look forward to talking again very soon. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Guys, it's my pleasure. Well, we're going into free agency. That depends on a whole lot of different things, but I'm already grinding on the draft, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of conversations during these weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
sure.
You know that nobody nerds out on the draft more than Rhett Bryan and myself, so of course we'll be asking you 8 million questions about that.
Perfect. See you guys.
See you, Coach
Thank
Mack.
you, Coach.
All right, we come back. We'll give you a final chance at the phones. I know we got people who want to talk before we hang up. We'll get to the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. Also, I gave the stat at the end of the show yesterday about how many total interceptions were thrown over the divisional round weekend. It was 6. I got a little bit more to add to that. And, man, this it just punched me in the gut one last time. But I'll share one last stat with you about Saturday, and then we'll move on. And your phone calls next. Blaine and Mickey.
Check 1, 2. Breaking. Good afternoon. I'm Lucas Panzica. Breaking news in the NFL. Earlier today, New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton has stepped down from his post in Louisiana. Payton was the head coach.
Blaine and Mickey 104.5 The Zone. I finished up the show yesterday, and then this morning I thought I didn't even give the total math on that. NFL divisional weekend quarterbacks, 8 total, right? 8 quarterbacks, 8 teams. Tannehill threw 3 interceptions and 24 pass attempts. Lucas, listen to this. This is you're going to punch something. The other 7 quarterbacks total threw 3 interceptions. All 7 of them.
Right.
Tannehill did his in 24 pass attempts. Everybody else, 3 interceptions in 258.
Stop it. Why are you pointing that needle in my gut right now?
Garoppolo, 1 of 19. Garoppolo. Burrow, 1 in 37. Brady, 1 in 54. And then Aaron Rodgers, none in 29 attempts. Allen, none in 37. Stafford, none in 38. And Mahomes was 0 interceptions in 44 attempts.
How many was it for Tannehill?
24. He had 3 and 24 attempts. Everybody else 3 and 258.
That's 13% of his passes.
What's the other one? What's the 258?
He said 3 out of 258.
3 out of 258.
Yeah, he's doing it in his head, guys.
Yeah,
No, he's definitely his phone.
Yeah, you're smart, man.
0.01%.
Oh, wow. It's 0.
As close to 0 as you can get.
Oh, man.
Okay. All right. Well, I just, again, I did the math. It was just so astounding to me that's how this ends. Chill Mode said that just hurts Mickey. I'm sorry. CM, Chill Mode. And Zone TV chat. Let's finish up final phone calls of the day. We'll finish on happier, whatever people want to talk about.
Man.
Nate in the borough.
I'm going to cut your mustache.
Up next. What's up, Nate? Welcome to Blaine and Mickey.
Hey, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on here today. It's been a little bit. I'm not going to touch on what I was going to touch on. Coach Knox pretty much hit it right on the head with Henry and Foreman. And also with Blaine, too, talk about Henry being, kind of rusty. So my thing I'm switching up to is the Titans as a whole. What I've noticed over the years of watching the Titans is it seems like we struggle when we're not facing adversity against teams. When we lost against the Texans and we lost against the Jets, we kind of underplayed them as a team as a whole. And I've noticed that as a Titans organization. Unless we face an adversity, because, we play great quarterbacks this year between Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, and, we excelled against them. Needless to say, we did have injuries and the teams were up to full strength, but as a whole, when we play these easy teams throughout the years, it seems like we struggle. We should have absolutely dominated the Bengals up and down the field. With those 9 sacks we did, we should have dominated that team, and we should be in the AFC Championship game this weekend against the Chiefs. And that's all I got to say.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, they should have, but, when you have turnovers, it's shown every time that we can be beat. The teams that beat us, we had bad day, Houston, Jets. Who else did we lose to that didn't make the playoffs? Which are, it's the NFL. But if you make turnovers, it's just going to be hard to win. As well as the defense played, man. You gave up a play. They got playmakers. You're going to give up a play here or there. It's a tough one to swallow. It's one that's going to burn inside, and hopefully with Tannehill to come back and be better. I know when we lost, it burned for me, in 2000s playoffs, which, whoever won that game was going to win the Super Bowl, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But I was ready that next year, boy. I wanted to be the best I ever had been, and it drove me to heights that I didn't even know I could reach as far as my preparation and getting prepared for that next season and pushing yourself. So I'm sure everybody else is going to have that same mindset because that's the type of people those players are. And that's, they all want to win it, and it takes a lot. But sometimes you gotta fall a couple times to get to where you want to go to make it that more precious. So we shall see. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it from a player's perspective. Even with Tannehill, it's going to burn him, and he's going to come back and want to prove that he's the guy. But at the end of the day, you can do that in the regular season, and we can pat him on his back. But he's got to get it done in the playoffs.
Yeah,
there's nowhere around it. That's it. That's the last chapter for him. As I said, going into the regular season, is to see if he can get it done in the playoffs. Once again, it didn't happen. So this is the last go round. I think you got to give it one more year, especially with the cap situation.
But after this, it's no more cap. It's nothing that holds it together after next year.
And this is a window because this is the 3-4 year window that they had. This is it, and this is it. Backs against the wall. So. Yeah, they do play better. It seems like as though they were favored in this game, so that made me nervous in itself. Yeah.
Let's sneak in one more call. Alvin in Nashville. Alvin! Let's wrap it up. What you got?
Hey, I just want to call real quick and just say, man, during the game, I don't know if y'all ever noticed, like, when he would throw interception, he wouldn't even go back to, I don't even know what it's called, it's the tablet. He wouldn't even go back to even look at the tablet or anything. My thing is like, okay, why I throw interception? I'm just going to hang right here and watch the defense. Like, it's like it wasn't even no game plan. My thing is, when you playing, you gotta have some kind of game plan. There was no game plan from start to finish on offense. Like it's like what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sure. All I need to do is don't be throwing to the other team. What are you doing?
They were 1-5 with 3 or more turnovers. They were 11-1 with anything less than 3. The one thing you couldn't do was go in the game and give the ball away. Now we'll start talking about everything else. It's time to move on. A lot of people said, "Mickey, Lonzo says you're killing me, Mickey." Sorry. I just did the math on that. 0.1% versus 12.5% for 7 guys versus 1 guy. But that's it. Tomorrow, we start to move on. We turn the page.
Yeah, well,
other things.
I got to go sit down with a shrink or something. Oh, yeah, I got to say, this is all, I can't imagine, man. This is almost not as close as, it's halfway there, though. I thought this is a team.
All right, our music's playing.
Yeah.
That's Lucas's way of saying we got to go. But we wish everybody a happy rest of their Tuesday.
Yeah. In the meantime, in between time.
Also wish you this.
Peace.